All right, good morning, everybody. This is the Cashman's Playbook for Saturday, April 22nd. I'm Alan Cashman, playing a little hurt today. Not a cold or something going on. Better than yesterday, so hopefully by tomorrow I'll be back to normal. At least didn't lose my voice, so that's good. We're going to go over some things today in MLB. Try to get through this in 10 or 15 minutes like we usually do so you can get on with your day. Before we start, if you would, please hit the like button on YouTube. That's the thumbs up icon. And then subscribe on YouTube if you would, please. It makes a big difference. You visit TheCashmanwins.com to become a PIX subscriber. You can get all sports for 1 year for just $52. So that's just $1 a week. That's going to take you through the rest of this baseball season and then get you through the entire college football, NFL, and college basketball season for next season. So great value there, just $1 a week at TheCashmanwins.com. You can also get a lifetime pass right now for $139 when you use Venmo or Cash App. That is normally $2.99. The Venmo Cash App info on the website when you click the subscribe tab at TheCashmanwins.com. Last week, we gave out Atlanta minus 135 in MLB, and then we had Shohei Ohtani over 1.5 total bases. Both of those cashed for us on the broadcast for last Saturday. I'm not seeing a lot in MLB the last couple of weeks, so I don't know if I'm having a little bit of a mental block, which I get usually a couple times a year where I just not seeing things like I want, and then we usually get real hot. So that's coming. But I see a lot of bad pitchers versus teams that are not hitting the ball. So it's kind of choosing the best of two evils. Really comes down to guessing. And a lot of people will guess and throw 4 or 5 picks your way and hope that you win 2 or 3 of them. I don't do that. I don't guess. I like data-driven picks, information. We are doing well on our home run props. I post those daily for members in the personal picks section at TheCashmanwins.com. Another profit yesterday on those home run props. We had 11 players on our list for Friday. We cashed 4 of those, 3 at plus 400 or better. Biggest one was Nico Horner of the Cubs, cashed at plus 1,000. Also had Patrick Wisdom of the Cubs at plus 170 or plus 370 that hit. So I hope some of you played those, and hopefully you parlayed that one. Same game parlay. I did not this time. Last couple of days I've not done the same game parlay that I've been doing. And I took a break from it, but we did hit a big home run parlay last Sunday. Tommy Pham of the Mets and then Pete Alonso completed it late with a home run at Oakland. I think it was plus 3,300. So that helped after we had Justin Spieth at plus 2,200 in the RBC Heritage last week, and how he lost that, kind of choked that away. So that plus 3,300 home run prop hitting for us late afternoon last Sunday was a little bit of consolation given what happened with Spieth, where it looked like we had a win there at 15th hole. It looks like we were gonna win that, and then he just kind of choked it away. So I'll have home run props for Saturday for subscribers around 12:30 Eastern. It'll be in the personal picks section at TheCashmanwins.com. So be looking for that around 12:30 Eastern, maybe a little before. This week, games of interest today, definitely more gambling than it would be what I would consider a strong data play. The data for one of the games of interest is good, but it's going against Garrett Cole of the Yankees, and that's a risk anytime you do that. Let's go over just the games in general today real quick. We'll have something here for the Blue Jays and Yankees, Manoah versus Cole. You got the Nationals at Minnesota today. Chad Kuhl, who has been awful against Pablo Lopez. We'll talk about that game briefly here in a little bit. The Cubs hosting the Dodgers today. Dustin May going against Hayden Wesneski. Rockies are at Philadelphia. You got Kyle Freeland going against Christopher Sanchez. Sanchez, you don't know much about him. He made a few starts last year, but not a lot of data there. I think that to me, this might be a game where you see some runs, but Colorado, I think they're hitting their average versus lefties is way down, I believe. One of the reasons I stayed away from that game. Miami and Cleveland are playing a doubleheader today. The first game, I believe, is the first game where Shane Bieber is pitching for Cleveland. Last league did not have a starter listed yet for Miami in game 1. Game 2, Braxton Garrett versus Zach Plesac. It's the second game of a doubleheader, so I don't like betting those because you don't know what the lineup's going to be like. I would lean, if it was just standalone game, I would lean Miami in that game. Plesac has not been super sharp recently. And Garrett, he had a first start. I think he got hit a little bit, but he bounced back. In his last 7 games, he's actually was pretty good dating back to last season. So I would probably lean in a standalone game. I'd probably lean to the Marlins with Garrett, that Garrett versus Plesac matchup. You got the Mets. They're at San Francisco today. Mets have actually hit Logan Webb in the past. I think I looked, and I want to say his ERA was between 4 and 5, a little over 5, maybe in his last 5 versus the Mets. I think he's given up 4 runs in each of his 3 or 4 starts this year. Peterson for the Mets. You know, I don't trust him. He pretty right now. It looks like he's going every other start where he's having a good game. That would make today the start where he has a good start. He's due for a good start today, given how he's been going. He didn't pitch very well last time out. So, but I don't really trust him. I don't want to go. I don't really want to back him in a game here. So, the White Sox are at Tampa. Good pitching match up here with Dylan Cease and Shane McClanahan. Really nothing. That White Sox bullpen not very good. So maybe you take the Rays there to get to Chicago late, but that's not something I'm going to be interested in. Reds at Pirates. Sessa, horrible his last time out against Rich Hill. We'll have a little something on this one in a few minutes. Detroit at Baltimore. Joey Wentz. Not sure about it. I mean, I see some good things. Thing is, Kyle Gibson's not very good for Baltimore, but Detroit's hitting is not very good. I think they've won like 5 of 6. So that's I think Detroit was plus 180 underdog. If you're looking at a dog today, you might look at Detroit as a dog. I don't know that I'm going to play it, but if you're looking at a dog today, I wouldn't be mad at taking a look at Detroit in this matchup against Gibson, he's just not very good. And Wentz. Wentz has the capability. I think the Baltimore hitters are only hitting 111 against him in 20 plate appearances, but he shows signs of being really good sometimes. So if I had to play a dog today, I would probably take a look at Detroit. I'm not sure I'm going to do that though. Oakland at Texas. You've got Haney going for Texas, who is a left-hander. Oakland actually hits left-handers really well. They've got to Haney in the past. You've got Fujinami going for Oakland, who's not been very good. So this might be a game with Oakland not having a very good bullpen. This might be I think the total was 9, maybe. This might be an over situation. I'm not going to play it. I'm not comfortable yet with totals for this season. And Texas is not hitting the ball really good the last week or so. So they scored some runs one or 2 days against the Royals, but their batting average is down. So I don't know that I want to back them right now, but like I said, Oakland is another dog you might look at, but you're gambling if you're going to back Fujinami. So not something I'm going to do. Red Sox are at Milwaukee. You've got Whitlock at Wade Miley. Actually, the current actives on Milwaukee or on Boston are hitting 342 against Miley, who's having a really good start to his season. Not enough data on Whitlock against this Milwaukee team. So nothing there. Houston at Atlanta. Framber Valdez against Kyle Wright. Wright's been a little iffy the last couple starts, I believe. Just going off memory, going back and looking at this game. I don't think I'll have anything there. I think if I had to play that one, I would play Houston. San Diego at Arizona. Musgrove versus Kelly. Nothing there for me. Royals at Angels. Greinke, he's been all right against L.A. here. LA's not hitting the ball right now. I considered them last night on the run line. They only won 2-0. It would have cashed. That was one option. I was also going to parlay them with Texas on the money line, which would have lost. So I'm glad being sick yesterday and having some technological issues with computer and website and everything. I'm glad I passed. But Tyler Anderson, who pitched well for the Dodgers last year, I'm not sure that that's going to carry over long-term here with the Angels. Again, Kansas City, no team that does not hit the ball particularly well. They don't have a very good bullpen, so I can't really back them. I can't trust them. And then you've got St. Louis at Seattle late. Miles McCullough, he is not pitching very well. Castillo, the Cardinals, a few players on the Cardinals have gotten to him in his career when he was with the Reds, but his numbers are not bad against St. Louis. So, I would not back Mike Mikolas in this situation. I probably lean Seattle, but I think it was kind of an inflated line. I'm probably not going to mess with that one either. Let's get to the couple of games here that I mentioned that we were going to talk about. So Garrett Cole, I mentioned going against him. That's a risk, but there's some data to support a Toronto play here. Toronto over 1.5 runs for the first 5 innings is plus 110. So that plus money return makes this worth a look with the history of Cole versus Toronto. Garrett Cole, he's 1-2 with a 5.53 ERA in his last 5 starts versus Toronto. Cole has allowed 3 or more runs in each of those 5 starts. He's allowed 6 home runs in those 5 starts, which covers 27 2/3 innings. And then Toronto over 1.5 first 5 has hit in 4 of those 5 starts that Cole has made in the last couple of years against Toronto. The Blue Jays, they did score 10 runs off of Cole in his 3 starts against them last year. 2 of those were in Yankee Stadium. That's today. We're playing in Yankee Stadium. So I see a lot of things. If there was ever a time to go against Garrett Cole, this would probably be it. But like I said, it's gambling when you do it because he's such a good pitcher. And he's been phenomenal to start this year. He's 4-0. He's got an ERA under 1. He pitched a complete game shutout his last start. So maybe the spot here, maybe he's due to be off just a little bit. And with the Blue Jays' history against him, they need to get a couple runs off of him by the end of the 5th. So they had some tempers flare last night. This will be an interesting game to watch. I'm actually going to have this one on playing in the background today. But I don't see a lot of edges out there in a lot of the other games. And this one does have some history with some numbers and a chance of a return at plus money. So I think a small play is worth a look here in my humble opinion. So I am going to take Toronto over 1.5 runs for the first 5 innings at plus 110. We talked, I said Washington, Minnesota was one of them, the games I had a little bit of interest in. But money line is so inflated for Minnesota as a favorite. Can't do that. They're getting close to 300. And we have some conflicting circumstances that I've been running into here, like I talked about having in a lot of games. You've got Chad Kuhl that starts for the National. He's horrible. He's got an 8.59 ERA this year. He had an 8.09 ERA in his last 7 starts dating back to last season. Right-handed hitters. He's a right-handed pitcher, but right-handed hitters are slugging over 800 against him so far this year. Worry is Minnesota's not hitting the ball very well right now. They've got 3 guys on the entire team that are hitting over 250 the last 7 days, and it's going to be cold today in Minneapolis. It's only going to be around 36 degrees. Those are conditions that really they stink for the pitcher and the hitter. They're just not very good for either. You've got Lopez pitching for the Twins. He's handled Washington in his time when he was with the Marlins. I think he was 2-1, ERA under 2.5, like 2.22 ERA, I think, and his last 5 starts dating back to when he's with Miami. So he's handled this Washington group. The total in this game is 7. It's just hard to say with the weather. If the weather was a little warmer, I would probably take a look at the Twins on the run line here, or maybe their team total over. But with barely just above freezing temperatures, I'm going to pass on this game, and I just can't do it with the way the Twins bats are going right now, and then the weather in Minneapolis with the chilly temperatures. It's just not it's a toss. It's not great for pitchers, but hitters do not like hitting when it's cold. So I'm going to lay off of that one. But I do have a play of interest here for the Reds at Pirates tonight. We got Sessa against Rich Hill. It said Sessa has been horrible for the Reds. He didn't pitch well in 2 starts last year versus Pittsburgh. I would say Pirates probably get 3 or 4 runs at least off of him. But Rich Hill, he's been okay. 1 bad start versus the White Sox. He's not was not great in the first start versus Cincinnati he had this year. I think that was the opening week. I don't know if he pitched for them. He didn't pitch opening day for them, but he was not horrible against the Reds in that first start, and he's been good in his other 2 starts. He's only had that really bad start with versus the White Sox. The Reds, they're not hitting left-handers well. I would lean Pirates here. I think they're around minus 150 at last look. But the play I do really like for this one, or a play I would think is worth taking a look at, is a hitter prop. And I would take a look at Kevin Newman for the Reds to get over 1.5 total bases. It's around plus 140 on your return. Newman, he's slugging over 600 or slugging right at 600 over the last 7 days. He's 2 for 4 against Hill with a home run. He's one of only 2 Reds that are active right now who are hitting over 250 against Hill. So I would take a look at Newman for the Reds over 1.5 total bases at plus 145. I lean Pirates in the game to win around minus 150 or so. That's pretty much it for baseball today. We'll have computer projections posted or finalized. I've had them up. I've just got basically waiting for model number 1, which is based on a percentage of bets. And I'll give that till just before 1 o'clock. Let's see, what time's the first game start today? Base it on that. Let's see, that first game is the Yankee game. That's a 105. So let's give it till about 12:30 for model number 1, and I'll go through and post which ones have meet the criteria for model number 1 at 12:30 and get those finalized for you. We'll have playoffs for the NBA, computer projections, playoffs for the NHL, Stanley Cup playoffs just before 1 p.m. Eastern. Really haven't followed either a whole lot this week. I've watched a little bit of the second half of a couple of the Suns and Clippers games. We do have a future on the Suns to win it all, so some interest there, but I won't get too invested in watching it until probably the next round. It just, NBA is very hard for me to watch, get into. So I just don't like spending a lot of time on it. But that's going to be it for this week. Again, if you would, please hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube. If you want to become a Picks member, go to TheCashmanwins.com. A lot of options there for $1 a week or less. I hope all of you have a great weekend. Looking nice. I haven't been outside yet, but it looks nice outside here in Fisher. So hopefully, I think it's supposed to be a little chilly this weekend, but it does look nice out. So I think maybe one more weekend of cool weather, and I think we'll be ready for spring and then summer not too far behind it. So enjoy your weekend. We will be back at it next week at 11 a.m. Eastern. I appreciate it, guys.